Good Tuesday morning to you. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martich, and this is your outlook for December 30th, 2014. And we're going to use the GFS for this video primarily. I just want to put a disclaimer out there that we are not necessarily siding with the GFS as we get into the long range. I'll explain that when we get into the storm threat for the next weekend here, which really hasn't changed much on the model guidance for over the last 24 hours since the previous video. We're going to start off with today. And we have a frontal boundary that's positioned to our south here. There's also a weak wave of low pressure that's trying to form along this with some light precip showing here. Now the GFS is indicating this is going to be snow here, but you can see where the temperature line is. 32-degree line is actually way up to the north here. So anything falling down this area here would probably not be snow, and even if it was, would not be accumulating whatsoever, just because the temperatures are too warm. And that to go over to the NAM high-res future simulated radar, just for clarification on that, this is the latest NAM high-res future simulated radar, the 0Z version. You can see some precipitation here across southern Delaware, maybe into southern New Jersey here as well. But you see where the 32-degree line is, way up north here, up by the Lehigh Valley, from Harrisburg over to the Lehigh Valley and into central New Jersey. Anything up here is 32 or below. Up in this area here, anything down here is above. So obviously this falling down here would be in the form of rain, and that would be for extreme southern Delaware that we would have that opportunity today for those quick showers here. Now this is looking at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. You might have mostly cloudy skies up in this area as well, even though there's nothing falling. And I think you're going to start with a day like that for for a good portion of our central and southeastern areas, just because of the system close by here. So mostly cloudy in the morning, maybe some improving conditions from northwest to southeast during the afternoon as these clouds start to move away with the system offshore. Up here in this area here, up in the northern areas, you should be at least partly sunny for most of the day, so we're not worried about anywhere up there for any precipitation or too much in the way of cloud cover. Going a little bit further beyond today, you see the system moves offshore here. We get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're looking at mostly sunny skies for Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 30s across the coverage area here. And not too windy either. Winds are going to increase a little bit here on New Year's Day. But we're talking about the 6 to 12 mile per hour range, not really nothing too terrible. And then we get into Friday, we're going to have a system, very weak system passing off to our north. All that's going to do across our coverage area is going to make our area basically partly cloudy versus mostly sunny. That's it. So everything stays to the north here. And then we get into the weekend here. Saturday starts off okay, then we get increasing clouds on Saturday, and then later in the day or at night we expect some precipitation movement. Now some key features here that we're going to outline. The first being this area of high pressure here that is sitting up here just near, actually northern New England, right near Maine here, and Vermont, New Hampshire. This high pressure is sitting right over top of there. So that's going to keep some cold air damming into this system here. There's a cold air damming is what actually keeps the cold air in place as the precipitation moves in. So even though the GFS, which is probably incorrect, but we're going to say, just for argument's sake, the GFS is correct. It has a system that's going to cut to our west. By that system cutting to our west, that would indicate that you're going to have warm air overriding cold air at the surface. This high pressure right here is providing the cold air at the surface. So if you have some areas that are in the valleys especially, that traps the cold air below the warm air vecting above it, you could have some problems with some freezing rain holding on longer if the GFS is correct, bringing this precipitation, or bringing the low pressure further to the west, bringing in the warm air, overriding that cold air. I don't think the GFS is correct, so if it was correct, you'd be talking about snow initially to start. Here's the high pressure starting to move out here on the GFS, but it's still in a good spot that you at least start off cold, and you have snow transition to sleet, which is this orange right here, and then freezing rain, which is this pink here. Here's the snow here in blue. And this, of course, all back here is rain. Here's your area of low pressure cutting to the west, and that brings in warm air on this side of the system. That's what the GFS shows. Now, as we get into some of the other model guidance, you see all this changes over to rain here. The GFS is this area of low pressure moves to the north. Some areas in the valleys and areas further north holding the freezing rain a little bit longer, and this would be Saturday night, according to the GFS. Now, according to the European model, well, actually, I should say the European model ensembles, that has an area of low pressure a little bit further east, comes over to West Virginia to a point right about here. Once it does so, it transfers energy to a secondary right about here, which then continues off in this direction. And the reason the European model is doing that is the polar vortex, which is off the map here. It's up in this direction up here, way off the map. Polar vortex is stronger and further southeast. So that brings the cold air in, and that forces this system to redevelop offshore. So there are a lot of different possibilities with this system. There's actually three. One is the GFS shown here. Two is what I just drew with the European model having area low pressure that transfers to another system offshore, which is known as a Miller B setup. One transferring to the other. That would provide some significant snows up in this area here if that were to occur. And the third option is the polar vortex is even stronger, so strong in fact that it overwhelms this system and just shears it out. So when it comes up, it's just a very weak low. It just kind of fizzles as it heads out, kind of like in this direction here. That gives you very, very light snow over most of the coverage area. So the bonus to that is the third option. The bonus to the third option would be you would have mostly snow across our entire coverage area, but would be very light. Your chance for significant snow would be option number 2, which is what I drew with the European model ensembles, and that would be, of course, the area of low pressure coming up through West Virginia, redeveloping to a position offshore, and then that low pressure taking over as the primary, moving to the northeast, would give significant snows to the interior portions of the northeast. So this is not a situation we think that is going to favor this Great Lakes cutter, which is what's shown on the GFS, and also not favoring the system that is sheared out. So we're kind of meeting in the middle with that transfer of energy, and that would be presenting a threat for significant winter weather across at least portions of our coverage area. This won't be a situation where our entire coverage area is in snow and ice, but we could be featuring snow, ice, and rain combinations basically anywhere in our coverage area here this weekend. So it's one of those deals we have to narrow down as we get a little bit closer, and we'll continue to do that as we get it closer with each day and narrow it down as the model guidance comes in a little bit better of an agreement. Until then, I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and then as your outlook for December 30th, 2014, have a great Tuesday.